introducing people. We appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Did I miss anything?
Yes, you missed a lot. That's fine.
Married up.
Thank you. We appreciate your view of history, your own personal examples in your life, how it's formed your priorities. But most importantly, I think I speak for every member of this committee, we appreciate your respect for every single member of this committee and bringing us together to have the type of civility to deal with difficult issues where we have different views, but to be able to move forward in a very positive way. And that was very clear with the legislation that Senator Capito referred to, two pieces passing this committee, and the bipartisan infrastructure package, which basically incorporates the work of this committee. So we thank you very much. And Senator Capito, I always enjoy working with you. I have a different view as to your point in regards to the letter issued by the Department of Transportation. I do think we always want to find the right balance. The balance between giving flexibility to the states, which are determinative to the priorities that are important for their community, but also to advance priorities, national priorities. As Chairman Carper pointed out, we put that in law. I mean, the balance between maintaining our infrastructure and increasing capacity is one in which we have an interest at the national level to make sure it is attended to and that we have oversight as to how the transportation programs of this country are balancing those two very important issues. That's our responsibility. And as we negotiated this bill, many of us had very strong priorities in regards to transportation safety, in regards to equity, in regards to maintenance, in regards to resiliency, in regards to climate change. And we were able to work out the implementing legislation so that we could get unanimity in our committee, but to advance those priorities. So yes, Mr. Secretary, we want to maintain flexibility, but we also want to advance national priorities. And I think the way that you have explained your letter, I agree with completely. So we have 90% of the funds go by formula programs. We've talked about that. Some of the formula programs deal directly with safety. Some of them deal directly with air quality. So we have programs that we have advanced the funding in because that's our priorities also. So I think it is absolutely consistent for you to look at the overall plans of the states to see whether it's carrying out what Congress in a strong vote asked you in implementing the bipartisan infrastructure package. I could go through a lot of the specifics. You know, we were directly engaged in equity. We haven't talked about that, but I mentioned that because in my community, we have a highway to nowhere that was built in downtown Baltimore that very much negatively impacted on the residential communities. And they were not politically active enough to stop that at the time. And now we have an opportunity by reconnecting communities that we can use the bipartisan infrastructure package to deal with a need of a community because of a transportation project that never should have been built in the first place and certainly did not tend to the community when it was built. That's an example of how we came together, and we specifically spoke to that. And I encourage you as to how you implement that. And then we talked a little bit before the hearing started about the bicycle lanes, et cetera. Well, we have a transportation alternative program. That was initiated by us, bipartisan. Senator Cardin and I initiated the transportation alternative programs. Now Senator Wicker is my partner on that. And we provided substantially more funds for the transportation alternative program, increasing it from $850 million to $1.4 billion. So my point is that the issues that are in the letter that's referred to by Senator Capito are priorities that we have come together as a committee to pay attention to, and it's only reasonable that you would look at the overall plans of the states as to how they're dealing with the priorities that Congress has been advancing now for many of our surface transportation bills. I want to ask you, we have these new programs to deal with reconnecting communities. I just want, if you want to give us quickly a status, but I would also like to get to one other question during my time, and that is there was an announcement made to increase the contracting goals for small disadvantaged businesses. I serve as chair of the Small Business Committee, and we've been laser focused in trying to help small businesses. I see the infrastructure bill as a major tool to help America's small businesses, but it's also an opportunity to help those small disadvantaged businesses, not just in subcontracts. I hope you'll also take a look at prime contracts. And if you could share with us how you intend to implement that, I would appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. We strongly agree that there's an enormous opportunity with the public dollars that are going to be spent to improve infrastructure around the country, to create jobs and to create generational wealth with work that can be done by underserved and I would say underestimated businesses and those who have been overlooked in the past. So we're being very intentional about that, like many agencies in procurement. But as you know, the vast majority of the dollars that go through our department aren't things that we directly procure. They go out through our grants and our discretionary programs. And so it's with a view to that we're going to work not only to ensure that there are ambitious goals set, but to take some responsibility for building the capacity in the first place, because we know that navigating those processes can be daunting for small businesses that haven't sought federal work before. And like you, I strongly believe that we need to see more disadvantaged businesses get to that prime role, while also working with the largest primes that are there right now to ask them what they're doing to ensure that some of their subcontracting goes to DBs that have overlooked. But we want to make sure that we're doing both, and that'll continue to be a very important focus for us.
And could I ask that you keep us informed, as well as the Small Business Committee informed, as to how you're implementing that goal? It's a major increase in percent, which is great, and it increases over time, which is also the smart way to do it. If you could keep us informed, our committees, I would very much appreciate that. And then lastly, in regards to implementing the reconnecting communities, appreciate as that gets rolled out, that we get as much of the information so that we can get it to our communities in order to try to take advantage of these opportunities. I would appreciate that.
Certainly will. On reconnecting communities, I must note it is one of those new starts that is waiting for us to move out of that continuing resolution environment, but we will lay as much groundwork for it now as the law permits, while looking forward to being able to move fully forward ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Cardin, thank you for those questions and for your kind words. Senator Kramer, you're next. Welcome.